Okay, we are live. Hi, welcome to the live show. We are going to take a very brief look at the concept of leadership styles. And what I'm hoping to do today is start what will be a series of short deep dives or shallow dives into the concept of leadership styles, how they impact different kinds of relationships, but not just leadership styles, followership, strategy, all kinds of different topics. We're going to jump into all of that. But for today, our job is to look at leadership styles. When we talk about leadership styles, most people will tell you that they've been in a workshop, if they've been in a workshop for leadership, that someone has brought up the concept of leadership styles, different styles of leadership, and why they're important. Now, when we talk about leadership styles, very often what we're talking about is a descriptive way of understanding leadership. It's this kind of leadership. It's authoritarian and autocratic. It's authoritative. It's a laissez-faire, hands-off kind of leadership style. But like I said, this is about being descriptive. I'm describing what leadership feels like, how the person comes across, what I understand about that person's desire, or how they want to be read by me, whether I'm a follower or I'm, a leader for that person, and I want to look at him and I say, well, look, he's this kind of leader. It's very descriptive. And in most workshops, there tends to be a problem, or it becomes very difficult to help each individual learn new leadership styles. They can try, we can practice, but more often than not, what happens in leadership training is there's this attempt to say, okay, this is what the leadership style is. This is your main leadership style, and let's see if maybe you have a secondary leadership style that you'll use as often as you can. But it's very hard to learn those styles, and it's not impossible. It requires one-on-one training. It requires a lot of feedback and being open to the idea of moving through different types of styles and learning how and when to apply them. Now, one of the people who did a phenomenal job of explaining a little bit about this was Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman teaches us that about 6 different styles of leadership. And what's important here is that Daniel Goleman really gives us a sense of not just like what the name of the style is, but he really tries to tell us something about, when we might want to use it. For instance, when you're talking about a commanding style of leadership, you're going to use it in a crisis. You're going to use it when someone's having a problem, or the team is having a problem, or there's an external problem. The environment is giving us some kind of issue that requires us to, really push people through or deal with a problematic employee. Or if we're using a visionary style, right, where changes require a new vision, or when a clear direction is needed. Or, for instance, when we use a style like democratic, where it's really about getting people to share their ideas and get buy-in. Each of these styles is super important, but ultimately what's happening here is that we're still being descriptive. We're telling the person when they might use it. We're trying to be prescriptive. We're saying you might want to use it when this happens. You might want to use commanding or visionary or other styles when this kind of thing happens, but we're not really explaining to them how to do that. Now, there are systems that teach us how to do this. For instance, there's a system called the situational leadership, and situational leadership allows us to look at it and go, okay, wait, I want to look at the level of my follower. I want to try and understand who my follower is. So it gives us several levels. You get a D1 level, a person who has low competence but is highly committed, a newbie on the team, someone who might actually come with a lot of skills but doesn't know our processes, doesn't know how we do things. And so the question becomes, well, how do I move that person from a D1 into a D2? And then how do I move them where D2 is them, having some competence, they know how things work, but all of a sudden their commitment might be impacted. They might not be as gung-ho about the work. It maybe even starts feeling tedious, or they feel sort of stuck. And then we go, okay, well, from there, how do I move them through to a moderate to high level of competence, and where I'm going to see a variable level of commitment? And even lastly, I really want to move them up to level 4, where I see a high level of commitment and a high level of confidence. How do I do that? And here it says, again, it's prescriptive, but it's prescriptive in a way that says, I'm going to connect you between the the specific type of leadership you're going to use, directing, and the type of follower that you're dealing with. It's not about the team as a whole, it's about the specific follower. Saying, when you have a person who doesn't know what they're doing, either skill-wise or in terms of their time in on the team, they just don't know processes, they don't yet know how we work, you're going to have a more directive form of leadership. But then as they move through and they're working on this and they sort of learn stuff, you go, okay, now what's going on? Very often what happens is the person is got some of the ideas, but now they feel kind of stuck. Well, what do I do now? And now it's no longer, I need to tell you everything you need to do, but I might need to be more of a coach. Sometimes I'm going to have to tell you what to do, and sometimes I'm going to have to come at you with really highly supportive behavior where I help you figure out how you're going to grow, how you're going to develop, what's the next thing you should learn, who you should talk to in order to learn. And we move through this and we go, okay, well then what about someone who's already past that? And you go, well, now I really just need to support you when you come up against something which is, creating an obstacle in your path. Here, path goal leadership, for instance, is a wonderful way to support a team member who's having problems. You give them a job, you give them a task with, specific objective, key results, metrics, everything that, they know where they're going. You let them work on it to the best of their ability, and you let them know that when they have an issue, they should come and talk to you, and you'll help support them, get them through that obstacle, or figure out what paths they need to take in order to resolve any issue that comes up. And of course, we want to reach the point where we're just delegating, we're laissez-faire, we're passing this over to them and saying, do it. But here's the thing about this as well. It doesn't teach us exactly how to do this. It tells us what we need to do, which is much better than simply saying, hey, what's your style? It's now, okay, what's your style? And when is the best time to use different styles? And here's some ways you might want to think about doing that. But as we go through this, we kind of want to figure out something about, like, how can I use this even more, these styles even better? And if we go back to Goleman for just a moment, and here it's I think very important for us to think about this in depth. What we find is that if we look at Goleman, especially if we look at him from the perspective of followership, we see something very interesting. When your leader feels like they're in a crisis, and they are pushing things, moving things, trying to get things done, what's something you can do as a follower to support them? Well, you want to understand why they're engaging in that kind of behavior, in that kind of leadership, and then figure out what actions you can take in support of and to counteract whatever the crisis is. Or when someone takes a visionary style and they go, hey, we really want to make this change, and they're looking for you to act as a follower in that. They're giving you a clue, they're tipping you off. So if you can describe their leadership and understand what prescription it's being used for, now you can use this leadership to your advantage. It helps you not just in terms of your relationship downward if you are the leader, but it also helps your relationship upward with your leader. And in this respect, it allows you to also talk in leadership. If you can explain to your followers what's going on and why you need their help and what you want buy-in for, it will help them to better understand what to do next. I'm moving all around again and I don't know why. There we go. So for instance, when you talk about affiliative or democratic, you really are talking about a situation where you want people to collaborate more. You want them to have good relationships. You want to heal those relationships. And part of leadership allows us, these leadership styles allows followers to better read and describe what it is that their leader wants from them. So leadership styles are great. They help us not only as a leader to sort of figure out what's the best way for me to relate to my followers, but it helps followers figure out how best to relate to their leader given the styles that the leader is choosing or engaging in. And it might not be a choice. It may be a gut reaction. Right now I need people to give me ideas. Democratic. Right now I need you guys to get this done. We need to do it quickly. Pace setting. Why? Because there's something that's going on. They're looking for you as the follower to engage them that way. So that's something we all can do. So here's the thing. I would love for you all to riddle me this. How are you going to use this information to improve your relationship with your leader, team, or employees? How are you going to engage them to make the relationship better? What kind of styles are you going to choose? And how are you going to use styles, your understanding of styles, to improve your relationship with your leader? Next steps. Well, first and foremost, click under my name if you want to talk to me. I am available for a coffee online, and or we can talk about next things you might want to learn from me. Secondly, check out my website, drdleitner.com. Please take the time to check it out. Let me know what you think. And there you'll find all kinds of information about who I am, what I do, a little bit about me and beyond my work. Connect and ring the bell so that you can know when these kinds of sessions are going on again. And last but not least, tune in next time. Thank you all very, very much. I apologize for the blips and bloops of the system. I'm going to have to figure that out. See y'all next time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hope to see you next time.